Okay, mayong adlaw sa tanan. This is El Maestro once again. And again, for those bago sa akong YouTube channel, please subscribe and like. And just hit the notification bell button for more video uploads, no? So, sa mga succeeding na mga video na i-upload na to. This time class, we'll have solving quadratic equation by extracting square root. So, before you proceed with this video, make it sure na natanaw na ninyo itong video nga prior sa kaninga video, which is yung nature sa isa ka quadratic equation, no? How to determine a quadratic equation. And also make it sure that you already done answering your pre-test, mga review test sa inyong module, if you have one. Now, some of you, dili pareho og example na nasa inyong module. So, but important thing is, you will know paano isolve ang isa ka quadratic equation by extracting square root. So, before we can actually answer quadratic equation by extracting its square root, first, we have to define what is a square root. A square root of a number written in the symbol. Okay, maybe some of you familiar with this, ang uban karon lang, that symbol, okay, is a value that when multiplied by itself gives the number. Again, this is the symbol of a quadratic or a square root. Okay, it is called a radical sign. So pag naamoy makita na, then that is a square root. Okay, and it says here class nga na siya giingon multiplied by itself. Okay, when a number multiplied by itself. So before we proceed, we'll have a little review. Okay, so we will multiply a number by itself. Let's say, for example, we have 2 multiplied by itself, and you have equals to 4. 3 times 3 equals to 9. You have 4 times 4, you have 16. 5 times 5, 6 times 6, 7 times 7, 8 times 8, 9 and 9 times 9. Actually, you can continue to go. Pwede 10 times 10, which is 100, 11 times 11, 12 times 12, 13 times 13. Okay? So, padayon. And, dapat somehow familiar mo sa mga result, ana. Because, when you multiply two numbers, the result is, tawag ana class, is a perfect square. Yeah. So, if you multiply two numbers, ang result niya class is a perfect square number. Okay? So, timanin ninyo na ha, perfect square number ang result. It can also be written in this form. It's the exponential form. So meaning, kanang 2 times 2 nimo class, this 2 times 2, okay, pwede siya isulat in this form. Okay? Tawagan ni exponential na form. Okay? Parehara na sila. And it is a perfect square. Okay? So you have 3 squared is equal to 9. 4 squared is equal to 16. And you have, okay, the rest of the numbers. Again, sama sa ingon ako, you can continue 10 times 10 or 10 squared, 11 squared. And again, ingon ako class, as much as possible, mas nindot memorize ninyo ni siya nga mga numbers or perfect square na number. Because these numbers are just simply equal to these numbers. Okay? So we will now use the radical sign, okay, or the square root sign in solving number according to the definition. Okay? Kaya ingon siya, a value when multiplied by itself gives a number. So ang result daw sa imong square root, kung i-multiply nimo sa iyang sarili, will give a number. And this is now the data na naa sa tuwa dire. Okay? So let's have an example. Let's say for example you have the square root of, okay, nakita nimo kanang naka-white box. Okay? Those numbers are kailangan nato. Okay, let's say for example square root of 4. Again, it can also be written in this form. 2 squared, that is equal to positive and negative 2. If mapansin mo class, na siya ay, okay, positive and negative, meaning ang resulta na duha, it could be positive 2, pwede po negative 2. So duha na siya. Another one, square root of 16, the positive and negative square root of 16. Okay, again, pwede siya isulat in this form, in exponential form, and that results to positive and negative 4. Unsay napansin ninyo with these numbers, class? Look. So, ang naa sa sulod sa ato ang radical sign, actually, are these numbers. Diba? Nakita ninyo? And these numbers, sama sa giingon nato ganina, these numbers are perfect square numbers. Okay? So, when you multiply two numbers by itself, the result is a perfect square. Nakuha. Okay? And again, since that is a perfect square, it can also be written into its exponential form. Kana, exponential form. Okay? So again ha, pwede exponential form, pwede ito its perfect form. Kana, perfect form niya. Okay, another example, you have square root of 64, or the positive and negative square root of 64. It can also be written in a form of positive square root of 8 squared, since 64 and 8 squared equal lang sila, and the result is positive and negative 8. Question is, nga nung ingana? Okay? So let's say, copy nato ng square root of 8 squared. If manotice ninyo class, actually, since that is plus and minus 8, you can just simply cancel out the radical sign and ang iyang exponent, so that you can have an answer equal to positive and negative 8. Okay? Another example. Okay, positive and negative square root of 11. That is equal to positive and negative 11. So meaning, you just simply cancel it out. Okay? Para na kay positive and negative 11. Okay? Oh, let's have a more example. Let's have another example, more examples. We have square root of 75. Again, sama siguro nato, any number raised to the power of 2 is a perfect square. So 75 squared is a perfect square number. Okay, ayaw katingala wala kay plus and minus diri class, because kung wala siya nakabutang, that is understood. Okay? So wala na siya gibutang para if namoy makita nga walay nakabutang, again, makabalo mo it's the same thing. Because if you cancel that out, the result is positive and negative 75. Again, if you have square root of 21 squared, cancel. So the answer is positive and negative 21. How about this? Ngutana mo, sir, x squared naman na, sir, di naman na number. Again, relax. Ayaw karatol. Do the same thing. Okay? Kung giunsa nato. Cancel out the radical sign and the square, and you will have x. Sir, wala lagi positive and negative. Okay, class. Pag mag-deal tag variables na naa sa sulod sa atong radical sign o sa square root nato, we will use positive. Okay? So, mao nang x lang siya. Positive x. Like this. Okay? Naanay radical. Naakay variable sa sulod, which is x plus 2 squared. So, you cancel out radical and you just use the positive sign. So, meaning x plus 2. Okay? With this, canceled out, ang mabilin, x minus 3. Nakuha. So, yung ana lang class paggamit sa square root. Okay? So sir, mga tanong, sir, what if ang atong sulod sa ato ang radical sign or sa atong square root is not a perfect square? Unsay buhaton nato? Okay? So that's another issue, another case na pud na siya. So let's try. We have square root of 20. But remember nitong ganina class, katong 2 times 2 is equal to 4, 3 times 3 is equal to 9, 4 times 4 is equal to 16, tapos so on and so forth. Manotice ba ninyo na naa dito si 20 as a result? So meaning, ang pangutana, is 20 a perfect square? No. Since 20 is not a perfect square, maglisod tag answer ana. Kasi we need a perfect square sa sulod. So this time, we will find a factor with a perfect square. Meaning, mangita tag factor ni 20 na naay perfect square. When you say factor, numbers na pag i-multiply nimo sila, ang result will be 20. So meaning, unsa na mga number na i-multiply nato ang mga number, ang result 20. So factor tawag ana. Let's say for example, we have 10 times 2. 10 times 2 is 20. So you have two numbers, 10 and 20. Ang pangutana is 10 and 2 a perfect square? No, di ba? Sama sa inyo na kanina, class, please familiarize and memorize ang mga perfect square na number like 4, 9, 16, sa pa to? 64, 81, okay? Those are mga perfect square na number, katong kanina. Next, 1 times 20. Is 1 a perfect square? Though 1 times 1 is still 1, pero dili na nato na siya gina-consider, no? Ang 20, is 20 a perfect square? Definitely not. Mao bitaw nangita tag factor. So unsa pa ang number nga factor sa 20 nga naay perfect square? Okay, 4 times 5. If we multiply 4 times 5, the result is 20. So we will use this factor to exchange atong 20. Okay, again, so we have one factor which is 4, which is a perfect square. So gamito na nato na siya, we substitute that one sa atong square root. So meaning, square root of 20 is simply equal to factor of square root of 4 times 5 because 4 times 5 is 4 times 5 is 20. Nakuha. So mo na itong buhaton, mangita tag factor ana nga number nga naay perfect square. So kailangan jud class familiar mo sa mga perfect square na mga numbers. Okay? Next, so let's just copy. Copy lang nato na. Then unsang next natong buhaton? Di ba si 4 class, you remember 4, unsa gana exponential form ni 4? Okay. Di ba si 4 is equal to this 4 is equal to 2 raised to the power of 2. Katong sa to ang gidiscuss ganina. If nakalimot mo, you can review with this video. Ibalik ninyo. So meaning, 2 squared times 5. So yung na. So naanatay, exponential form. Which can be, pwede na nato siya makancel out. So meaning, you will have, okay, gikopy ra nako, 2, okay, kung nakuha ninyo, kaning si kuan, di ba makancel man ni si 2 ug si radical sign? So meaning, nigawas na si 2 sa atong radical sign. Mao na ni siya. Sir, si square root of 5, naa pa man lagi sa sulod. Because, class, si square root of 5, perfect square ba siya? Di ba dili? Naa pa ba tayo ma-factor? Ma-factor ba nato si 5 nga naay perfect square? Wala na, di ba? Kay si 5, ang factor ni 5, 1 times 5 lang man. Okay? So since wala na gyud tay mabuhat sa square root of 5, class, if wala na factor nga na perfect square, ayaw na jud ninyong pugsa. Okay? Pag kuha. Nga naman, kung atong pugson, mamali mo. Okay? Mamali mo. Okay? So, another example. So therefore, we can say, before we proceed to another example, we conclude now that square root of 20 is equal to positive and negative 2 square root of 5. Another example. square root of 50. Again, mangutan na ta, is 50 a perfect square? Again, it's not. So, unsay buhaton gani? Find a factor with perfect square. 10 times 50 is equal to 50. Is 10 and 5 perfect square? Dili. 1 times 50, na perfect square? Wala. 2 times 25, is 2 perfect square? No. 25, yes, 25 is perfect square. Since this is a factor nga na perfect square, we substitute that one. Okay, 25 times 2, again, we copy. Then, write it into exponential form. 25 is 5 squared. Okay, ako lang i-copy. The next, you will have what? Igawas ni mo si 5. Since square root of 5 square is equal to 5. So, the result is positive and negative 5 square root of 2. So, therefore, square root of 50 is equal to positive and negative 5 square root of 2. Okay? I hope nakuha na ninyo class. So, we will have one last example. Okay? Skip lang class ha, kay nibalik. Okay? So, another example, square root of 45. Is 45 a perfect square? Again, no. So, unsa gani buhaton pag walay perfect square or dili perfect square ang atong naasulod sa atong radical sign? Unsa gani tatong buhaton? Tama. Oh? So, maghanap tayo ng factor ng 45 na may perfect square. So, what are those numbers? Ano yung mga factors ng 45? 15 times 3. Is 15 a perfect square? No. Is 3 a perfect square? No. Very good. So, dili na mao nga factor. Is 1 a perfect square? No. 45? Definitely not. How about 9 times 5? 9 times 5 is 9 a perfect square? Correct. Since 9 is a perfect square, so gamito na nato na to substitute sa atong sulod sa atong radical sign. Okay? So, you substitute it here. So, may mo siyang 9 times 5. Again, we copy. Then, write it into its exponential form. So, you will have, since 3 squared, square root of 3 squared is 3. So, the result is, square root of 45 is equal to positive and negative 3 square root of 5. So, ingana lang siya, class, if ang sulod sa imong radical sign is not a perfect square. Nakuha. So, kung perfect square siya, mas nindot. Okay? So, let's solve now a quadratic equation by extracting. So, we will use all those things na na-review nato. Okay? Unsaon pagkuha sa square root, perfect square, and everything. Okay? Are you ready? Sige. So, solving quadratic equation by extracting square root. So, these are the things na kailangan natong i-remember when we solve a quadratic equation. First, solve equation of the form x squared is equal to k, where k is equal to or greater than 0. K must be greater than 0. Unsa na siya, sir? Let's say, for example, this one. X squared is equal to 5. Is x squared is equal to 5, this one, the same ba sila, ana? Pareha, naka-x squared. Okay? Next. Is equal to k, meaning k is any real number or any number. Okay? So, naka-equal to 5 po siya, meaning, okay. Ang pangutana, since your k is your 5, the question is k greater than 0? Yes, k is greater than 0 because our k here, class, is kaning k nato, kani k is equal to 5. So meaning, pareha siya ani na form. Pag mag-solve tag quadratic equation, class, dapat x squared is equal to k. Kaning k any number. So dapat ingana ha, ang x squared naagyo diri sa left side sa atong equation. Pareha ni left side sa equation. Okay? So another example. So erase nato ni itong mga marks. Okay? So another example. So, sir, y squared nang bumulagi. Okay, class, kanang x squared, variable na siya. So, it can be any variable. Pwede siya x squared, y squared, z squared. So, don't get confused, okay? The same lang na sila. Tanawa, class, is y squared is equal to 15, naka x squared is equal to k form. Pareha ba sila gnaong? Very good. Pareha lang, no? So, meaning x squared is equal to k, y squared is equal to 15. Pareha sila nga form. So, meaning, dapat ingana ang form sa atong equation pag mag-solve ta. K is greater than 0. Yes, because ang atong k sa kaning equation is equal to 15. And that is, 15 is greater than 0. So, if that is greater than 0, then, nindot na siya, class. So, pwede na nato na siya ma-solve. Okay? So, another one. X squared is equal to negative 12. Is x squared is equal to negative nakaingana nga form? Yes, di ba? Pareha nga form, tanawa. X squared is equal to number, x squared is equal to negative 12. Okay? So, ang pangutana lang diya, class, is your k greater than 0? If makita ninyo, class, ang atong k, if nakita na to gani, ang k na to is negative 12, tama? Since that is less than 0, or k is not greater than 0, less than 0, meaning, dili ito siya pwede. Especially pag ang imong equal is negative numbers. Okay? So, dili pwede. Second thing is, solve equation in the form of, actually, pareho lang ni sila, class. Okay? Kaso this time, kani siya binomial. Okay? Tanawa. This form, the same form ba sila? The same lang, no? Kaning imong ax is, mo ni siyang 2x. Then, nakay b, which is constant, or a number, which is 4. Then, naka-exponent kag 2, nakay 2 po din na. Then, you have equal to a k, which is k. Pareha. So, meaning, masolve na to siya. Okay? Next. So, erase lang nato ni. Okay? So, next. So, we have this one, negative 3x plus 2, parenthesis squared is equal to 5. So, pangutana, the same ba? The same. So, meaning, kung naingan na form, pwede siya ma-solve. Okay? Last example. Tanawa, class. The same? Yes, the same. But the problem is k greater than 0. Unsa ang k nato, ana? Di ba ang k is negative 6? Is 6 greater than 0? Negative 6. Greater ba siya 0? No. Diba? So meaning, since negative ang iyang number sa pinakilid, dili na siya pwede nato magamitan og quadratic equation by extracting square root. So, in that case, so dili na siya pwede. So, tanggalo nato na siya. Okay? Next. Again. Okay, few more things to remember. So, quadratic equation that can be written in the form of x squared is equal to k, which is mo ni ganina, can be solved by applying the following properties. If k is greater than 0, again, if ang atong k, kabalo na mo asa ang k, class, di ba? The k is katong equal to, kaning number diri. If kaning atong k daw, class, is greater than 0, then x squared is equal to k has two real solutions or roots. Okay, duhang iyang answer, ha? Pag k is equal to 2. Next, if k is equal to 0, then you have only one solution. automatic na class. If equal to 0, automatic ang answer, x is equal to 0. Wa na daghang istorya. Okay? Next, if k is less than 0, when you say less than 0, mao tong mga negative ganina, no? Negative 3, negative 1. So if ana ang imong k less than 0 or negative, no real solution or no root. So wala siya ay answer. Mao tong ganina, ang atong k is negative, ato siyang gitanggal because wala siya solution. Nakuha. Okay, so let's solve now a problem or a quadratic equation by extracting square root. So, ibutang lang gyapon nako diri class ang mga things na dapat ninyo i-remember. So, dapat ning ani ang form, x squared is equal to k, or dapat ax plus b squared is equal to k form. Ingon niya ganina, if k is greater than 0, you have two solutions. If k is equal to 0, you only have one solution, which is x is equal to 0. And if k is less than 0, which is mga negative numbers, then you have no solution. Okay? Let's proceed. Example, number 1. X squared is equal to 45. So, before ta mag-solve class, first thing that we're going to do is, we have to evaluate the given equation. Evaluate sa nato, tan-awon sa nato, himay-mayon sa nato, no? Himay-himayon nato ang equation. Una, nasa x squared is equal to k form ba siya? Tanawa class. Yes, di ba? X squared is equal to k form siya because that is x squared is equal to 45. Next. So pag naa siya x squared is equal to k form class, so automatic, next na mo, ayaw na ninyo ni siya nga form because okay naman ni siya. Mao na naman ni siya. Okay? So next, sa number 3 is if k is greater than 0, is k greater than 0, unsa ang k nato diri? 45, di ba? So greater than 0 ba na? Yes. Since that is greater than 0, or greater than, greater than 0, so you have two solutions. So remember, you have two solutions. Okay, later on, makita nato, duha gyud ay siya. Let's proceed. So next thing that you're going to do, after ma-evaluate, take the square root of both sides of the equation. Sir, unsa na? Let's copy the equation. Let's copy the problem. Okay, you have x squared is equal to 45. So, ingon niya, take the square root of both sides. So, meaning, both sides, i-square root nato. Yun. I-square root nato ang duha ka side. Okay? So, by this, kabalo naman ta class, unsaon na siya. Okay? Let's proceed. Square root of 45 is not a perfect square. Gaya ng atong example ganina. So, we find what? Factors of 45, which is 9 and 5. Then we substitute it to the square root of 45. That makes your equation x squared is equal to plus and minus square root of 9 times 5. Which is 9 is, cancel sa nato na ang atong mga radical sign. And 9 is, again, a perfect square. Diba? Correct. So your answer now is x is equal to positive and negative square root of, or x is equal to positive and negative 3 square root of 5. Because 9 is a perfect square, which is 3. Okay? Therefore, you have two values of your x. Mauning ingon ganina nga, two solution. First is you have x is equal to 3 square root of 5, which we use the positive sign. And the other one is x is equal to negative 3 square root of 5. Mao nang rason class na if your k is greater than 0, duha ka buki mong answer. Okay? Okay, let's have another example. X squared plus 2, then parenthesis squared is equal to 25. First thing, unsay buhaton? Evaluate. Himay-himayon. Imbestigahan. I-familiarize ang equation. Is your equation in x squared is equal to k form? No. Okay? Number 2 ta. Is your equation in this form? Yes. Okay? So, nakuha na nato. So, meaning, naa siya nga na form. So, pwede nato na siya isolve. Is k is greater than 0? Yes. 25 is greater than 0. So, unsay nato buhaton sunod? Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is, very good, take the square root of both sides. So, let's copy the problem or the given equation, then square root nato both sides. And the result is, square root of x plus 2 squared is equal to square root of 25. Is 25 a perfect square? Yes. Since that is a perfect square, automatic, what is the square root of 25? Example na to ganina. So that is 5 squared. So that is equals to plus and minus 5. Nakuha. So next thing that you're going to the class, always remember, pag mag-solve ganito, always, kaning left side sa atong equation, dapat x ra gyud niyang naa din na. Our problem now, class, is unsa man? Okay? Yes, by the way, duha nga tong solution. We have positive and negative. Problema nato diha, class, karon is we have 2 here. Diba? So, something nato dapat x ra gyud nato di. So, we simplify the equation by transposition. We transpose 2 to the other side. So, mahimo na siyang x is equal to, okay, plus and minus. Positive man ang atong 2 diri, positive. So, mahimo na siyang negative diha. Okay? So, therefore, you have 2 values of your x. Again, since your k is greater than 0, you have 2 values of your x. X is equal to 5. First, we use the positive sign sa 5. We use positive sa 5 minus 2. That is equal to 3. And the other one, we use the negative. So, x minus 5 minus 2 is equal to negative 7. Okay? So, last 2 more example class, then you can proceed answering sa inyong module. Again, don't forget those things that you have to remember and steps you have to follow to solve quadratic equation by extracting square root. Let's proceed. 2 examples. Okay? So, you have x plus 8 is equal to 8. Again, naaba na siya nga na nga form. Okay, wala. So, simplify nato again. Dapat i-transpose natong isa ka 8 para ang mabilin sa kaninga side diri sa equation dapat si x squared lang yun or si x. So, i-transpose. Mahimo na siyang x squared is equal to 8 minus 8. Which is, gikan na siya sa equation na x squared plus 8 is equal to 8. Okay? So, 8 minus 8 equal to 0. Class, according sa atong evaluation or things to remember ganina, ingon siya, if your k is equal to 0, then you have one solution or one root. Sama sa ingon ako, pag x ang imong k, this k is equal to 0, kana, automatic isarang answer na. Diretso na, y duwa-duwa. Since 0 na, x is equal to 0. Matic na siya, class. Okay? So, dili na ta mag-square root both sides because automatic x is equal to 0. Okay? Example, x squared minus 2 or x minus 2 squared plus 11 is equal to 8. Again, check. Pareha nga form. Dili. Kay naapa si naapa 11 diri, oh. Dapat ang x kanang na x maura gyud mabilin diri nga side. So, we transpose this 11 to the other side. And that makes new equation. Okay, positive. Naman si 11 ganin, may mo negative. Gikan na sa atong equation na. Okay. So, from positive 11 transpose to the other side, that makes it negative 11. Again, 8 minus 11, that is negative 3. So, let's evaluate again. Is your k less than 0? Tanawa. Is negative 3 less than 0? Yes. Since that is negative, class, automatic, ingon niya, if k is less than 0, you have no real solution or no roots. Automatic. Since that equation, k is k, ang k sa imong equation is less than 0, then walay pagduha-duha, therefore x has no real solution or no roots. So, ingana lang class, okay? Pag mag-solve ta, always remember. So, memorize all those perfect square ng mga numbers, yung steps, yung mga things that you have to consider when solving quadratic equation by extracting square roots. Okay? So, I hope class na naamoy na sabtan. Okay? If you have mga things na nalibugan pa, which part, you can comment down sa atong comment section para makorek nato yung mga things kung which is nalibugan mo. Okay? So if you have more question again, you can put it down to the comment box. Okay? So thank you for listening. Again, okay? This is El Maestro. Don't forget class to subscribe my channel. Okay? This is El Maestro signing out.